Welcome to another Protea Weekly. It is March 2026. Can you believe it? 2 months down, 10 to go. And I feel like I'm going to need to ask you, how are those goals treating you? Remember that time in January we all sat down and said, I am going to achieve X, Y, and Z this year. How is that going for you? Maybe I should put that in LinkedIn, throw that question out on Friday and see how everybody's doing. I know mine are heading in the right direction. I've probably pivoted from some of them already, but running forward, running hard, running in the right direction, which makes me very happy. I was going to come on the show today and start with a rant, because I have a few things that are just driving me a little bit nuts. And one of them specifically that I really want to get into, but I have actually calmed myself down a little bit, and I've decided to rather reach out to an expert to see if I can get them on the show, record and talk facts about the topic rather than my opinions, because a lot of it would be my opinions. But it generally goes to a bit of rage baiting from a local CPA firm that I think puts an important topic in the wrong light. I think it is an important topic, a topic that should be spoken about, but the fear mongering around their email drove me a little bit crazy. So I'm going to park that for now and come back to that in another episode. I thought maybe I'll talk about a special occasion that we have at Protea, and that's celebrating 12 years. But I feel like I need to be in a slightly better frame of mind for that and not be frustrated by a few things that I've seen out in the community. So I'm going to actually save that for the last episode of Protea Weekly in March and just sit down and talk a little bit about our journey, where it started, how we got here, and just celebrate some milestones. I do a very bad job at celebrating, so I feel like I need to give that specific moment in our history the time it deserves, and today is just not that time. Then I thought about carrying on my tech conversation. I put out an interesting post on my LinkedIn about payroll and overwhelming support for my favorite payroll provider. And that was good to hear, because I have been getting some whisperings that they maybe are slipping with their performance. We haven't personally seen it, but other people have, and that's good. But maybe go check out my LinkedIn post about 2 weeks back, all about payroll. I asked the question, and you can see who that favorite is. What I've decided to talk about today, and I say this 3 minutes into our conversation, is to dig a little bit deeper into prioritization. I just finished a trip to South Africa to see our team there, celebrate some time with them. Really positive trip. But I did continue to speak about prioritization and the importance of being able to prioritize in terms of doing a better job and making our lives a lot easier. And it is fairly clear to me right now that a lot of people just don't know what a priority is. And I continue to speak about this with our internal vlog post that we do on a monthly basis to the team, and spoke about prioritization, specifically going to ChatGPT and asking it for some advice on what should accountants know about prioritization. And I went on a long conversation about the very first point that ChatGPT gave me, and there were 8 of them, but the first one was start with risk, not with noise. And I feel like I'm going to go clip this post and add it as a video to the channel that is publicly available so that all of you can see it, because I think I said a lot of good things. But if I want to take it back, part of what it is going that not all tasks are equal. And I think this is where a lot of people get stuck. We look at our task list. I have one, my paper one, I've got my one in carbon, and I look at it and it's 25 items. Great. If I treat all 25 items as equal, I am most likely going to be overwhelmed, not get to everything I need to, and get a little stressed out. And there's a very good chance that I will not do the work that is critical first. I'd most likely either do the first item on the list, or items that are not that important. And that is a bad place to go. As an accountant or any professional service provider, this becomes even more important, because we need to prioritize items that will carry financial, regulatory, or reputational risk if they're not done. So some of the examples I like to point out, accountant, is cash flow visibility is critical. Compliance deadlines must happen. Any decision making that anything that deliverable for decision making, that needs to be prioritized. If there's bank reporting, covenant reporting, those are priorities. Capturing AP today, important, needs to be done. Not really. You can probably continue in operations without AP being 100% up to date. Hot take. AP is important, needs to be done, but if I have a compliance deadline today, it probably should take precedence. The penalties and interest, if that is late, can be significant, and we should stay away from that. So I think that's the first thing that we all need to think about. It's really important to understand what a priority is and ignore the noise. I think the second part that I want you to really think about is understanding the difference between urgent and important. And in the accounting environment, it feels like everything is urgent all the time. I like to say nothing in accounting is actually urgent. We're just working with numbers over here, right? We're not saving people's life. We're not doing some brain surgery or anything like that. We have to figure out what is really urgent, what really needs to get done. And with good planning, hopefully urgent doesn't become such a big deal. So what we do need to focus things on is rather, how do we improve our processes? How do we optimize our system? Are we making sure that we're documenting all our workflows? Are there good controls and review in place? Are we taking time out for training and making sure that we're all on the same page? These are really important items that should be prioritized, because they don't just make my life easier, they make the life of people around me easier. And more importantly, they make the lives of people after me easier. So if I want to move on or promoted, different company, whatever it is, things can continue to move. They might not feel very urgent, but they are critically important for the future of that role. So you need to make time for them. You have to find time to prioritize them. Another thing to think about is it becomes a lot easier to prioritize when you plan better. And a few conversations that I've had over the last week, month, people struggle to plan. A lot of people wake up and go, what I need to do today. That's not planning. That's putting out fires. That's dealing with the loudest voice in the room. Real planning goes, what do I need to achieve this week, this month, this quarter, and how do I make sure that I get the various tasks done within those timeframes? Real planning means when you wake up and an urgent matter does come in, a fire does arrive that you have to deal with, you understand what else you have going on and understand which of those items can be moved, or at least a discussion can be had with somebody above you in the chain about moving those items. Can you deal with those urgent items that they want you to prioritize? Good planning also makes you understand that that there's certain things on certain days that other people are waiting for, or that are going to take a lot of concentration. For the ones that we're waiting for, like, let's get them out the door early. So it gives them enough opportunity to review and get back to me within a working day. If it's high thought work, I need to carve out the time, turn off my phone, turn off my emails, get in a quiet room, focus. You need to prioritize your calendar and understand what's going on in it to be able to better plan, better manage, better prioritize, be more successful. Planning is critical. You cannot prioritize if you're not planning. You can plan without prioritizing. It won't be very good planning, but it will happen. One that's a little bit more for like the people out there that like to do everything: work, social, community, everything, get involved in a bunch of stuff. It's really important for us to also understand when we say no. And this is like extremely hard, especially for a business owner like myself, that you need to understand that I can't say yes to everything. Because if I say yes to everything, I can't get to the most important things because my calendar will be too busy. This is really, really hard because, the FOMO is real. You don't want to miss out on what could potentially be an opportunity. But in terms of prioritization, you need to understand that you have a finite amount of time in a day. And you need to be able to prioritize what is the best bang for your buck in terms of your value and where you're adding value to the business or your clients. And you have to say yes to those things and say no to the other things. You have to remember that you can't respond immediately to every request. Yes, we have internal communication protocols, stick to that. But remember, saying, hey, I can't get this until X day because I'm dealing with priority X, Y, and Z is an acceptable response. Remember, you can't just be jumping in and solving every single problem, and also you can't be attending every single meeting. You have to know when to say no. And that no might not be a straight up no. It could be, hey, I am really busy that day. Would you mind scheduling it for another day? That is acceptable. I fall perfect for this as well. Hey, I got 5 lunches this week. That's insane. I probably should have said no to 2 of them. We have to say no because we have to prioritize our time and make sure that we have time for these high priority works. Additionally, when it comes to prioritization, it is a bit of a team effort, right? Obviously, we've all got our own things going out, but there are people around you that can support you in prioritization. Most of us work in teams. We should talk to our team members. We need to explain to other people what's going on. What we think is important. Where would you like this to fit in within the level of important? It's important for us to develop the personal skills to be able to prioritize, but it is also very important for us to be open enough to have the conversations with those people that it is affecting or is affected by our decisions to make sure that we are prioritizing the right things. That could be as simple as, you've asked me to do these 3 things. I believe 2, 3, 1 is the order I'm going to do it. If you do not agree, please let me know. And then push forward. Look for validation of your prioritization. This can be really tricky, especially in the world of service providers, because our clients and us might see priorities very differently. They might feel like they 100% need that report today. It's the critical end of the world. If you have a compliance deadline, you have to be able to have the conversation that says, Joe, I have to meet this compliance deadline. If we miss it, we will have to pay penalties and interest. I will not have time to get your report today, but I can deal with it tomorrow. If you're not okay with this, please put it down in writing that you would like me to prioritize your report over the compliance deadline. If not, I will continue to meet the compliance deadline. We're vocalizing it. We're having communications. We're looking for agreement that, yes, this is the highest priority. Now, some clients might come back, nope, that report's the most important. I'm happy to pay the penalties interest. As long as it's written in an email, snippet, save it, do whatever you need, you've got it, right? But I do believe that accountants, attorneys, all of us, a lot of our stress comes from not being able to prioritize. We can't prioritize, we can't plan, we're just putting out fires, listening to the loudest voices, responding to the first email in our inbox. If we continue to do this, we will continue to live in a world that is stressed. For accountants, we are in an industry that is struggling to recruit people into it because we're constantly talking about the stresses and pressures that we're putting ourselves under. It's hard work. We work long hours. What's sleep? A lot of this is just poor planning and prioritization. That's a fact. And I think all of our lives would become just a little bit easier if we learn to say no. We learn to understand what a priority is. We can become better at communicating. We find time in our calendars to plan in advance. We stick to those plans, we review our plans, and make sure that we have actually achieved all our priorities for that week. This is the most perfect situation where if we all just slow down a little bit, we would all speed up. Our lives would get easier. We had a little bit less stress. Our client service would improve. And our outcomes on every single project would look better. Our lives would be easier, our clients would be happier, and our teams would be more focused and more successful. I think we have all underestimated the importance of prioritization and planning for way too long. And I'm going to bang the drum this year that there are 3 skills that people need to learn. We need to learn to be better communicators. We need to learn how to prioritize, and we need to learn how to plan our lives better. These 3 skills will improve us all as accountants. They'll improve us as people, and our lives will just get a bit easier. You need to find what works for you. We all have different methods, but go find some books to read about it. I just listened to an Audible book. I'll drop that in the description of this video. Find your favorite, share your favorites, read it, implement this into practice, I think the simplest one is do some planning on Friday for the week before, review that plan on a Monday morning, and then on a daily basis, make sure you're hitting your priorities along the way. Get to Friday, do it all over again, and already our life will be easier. Knowing what is coming is half the battle. A lot of stress comes from not knowing what is happening next. And find yourself a good tool. We use Carbon. I promise you, before we had Carbon, I was just putting out fires left, right, and center. That's all I did. And I worked 100 hours a week. Now I probably get as much done, but in much less time. And I work quickly. Communicate, prioritize, take time to plan. That's how we all get better. Until next week.